All right, let's dive right into this. Welcome everyone to a truly exhaustive, step-by-step explainer journey deep into the hidden mechanics of reality itself. I want you to picture a flawless, cinematic, 4K heritage scene in your mind's eye. The Ohr Ein Sof, the infinite light, descending through hidden, majestic spiritual degrees. It's forming vessels out of nothingness, traveling all the way down until it reaches the ultimate boundary of Malchut, where it meets a barrier called the Masach.
It really is an absolutely awe-inspiring visual. But as serious students of this wisdom know, we're not just here for the imagery. We are here to break down the exact, rigorous spiritual physics behind it. Today, we're opening up Talmud Eser Sefirot, Part 3. We are going to explore exactly how the infinite light expands, how it's ultimately stopped, and how, paradoxically, a reflection creates the true capacity to receive. Let's get started.
Here is our map for today's deep dive. We'll start with the descent of the infinite light, then move through the 4 phases of desire, and hit the boundary of Malchut. After that, we'll witness the screen and the strike, see how the returning light acts as the true vessel, and finally look at Atzilut and the separation.
Section 1. Descent of the Infinite Light.
Before we go a single step further, we need to issue a strict fundamental warning. When we say words like light or descent today, do not, under any circumstances, imagine physical light rays or physical downward motion.
Absolutely crucial. There is no space, time, or physical movement in spirituality. What we are talking about is purely an evolution of cause and effect. It's a shift from a purer, more refined state to a thicker, heavier state of desire.
Right. Now, looking at our foundational text from Talmud Eser Sefirot, Part 3, the pshat, the literal level of the structure, tells us that in all worlds there are 2 fundamental components. You have Atzmut and you have Kelim. Atzmut is the essence, the light itself. Kelim are the vessels.
And the really wild thing here is that initially, there are no vessels. The Ohr Ein Sof, the infinite light, has to spread out, a process called Hitpashtut. As this light expands from its root source, which we associate with Keter, it begins to form 10 distinct vessels. The expansion of the light actually causes it to thicken, building its own containers so the essence can clothe itself within them.
Section 2. The 4 phases of desire.
So this expansion of light creates vessels through a mechanism called Hitabut, which literally means the thickening of the light's desire to receive, and it happens in 4 very specific measured steps. Let's meticulously walk through these 4 bechinot, or phases, explicitly detailed in the source. Phase 1 is Chochmah. Here, the light is received directly from the root. It's pure, unrestricted reception. But then the desire evolves into Phase 2, Binah. Binah introduces a concept called harhaka, distancing. It actually pulls back, desiring to bestow like the source rather than just purely receive. Now, because Binah pulled back, we need a bridge, which brings us to Phase 3, Ziyah, or Zeir Anpin. Ziyah needs some light to sustain itself, but it doesn't receive fully. The text says it receives only through a shalon, a narrow window. It's close to the source, but its capacity is highly restricted. Which brings us to the final endpoint, Phase 4, Malchut. This is the ultimate maximum thickening of desire. Malchut contains both the harhaka, that immense distance from the source that started in Binah, and a knock of tsar, an incredibly narrow hole for the light, similar to Ziyah. Right, while things like specific color shifts, like white for mercy and red for strictness, aren't explicit in this specific structural breakdown, the mechanics are undeniable. The capacity to handle raw, infinite light has progressively narrowed and distanced itself to the absolute limit to create a fully independent vessel.
Section 3. The boundary of Malchut.
So, this massive expansion of desire, this intense Hitabut, cannot just go on forever. It hits a final, ultimate endpoint, a gvul, or boundary, in Phase 4, Malchut. Exactly. Think about it. If Malchut were to just open up and keep pulling in the infinite light with that massive, totally thickened desire, the vessel wouldn't survive, it would shatter. You simply cannot hold an unlimited source within a limited structure without some kind of highly specialized mechanism. And that specialized mechanism is the Masach. As the text explicitly states, when the 10th vessel of Atzilut is completed, which is the vessel of Malchut, a screen, a Masach, is established right there. Its entire cosmic job is to hold back the infinite tide. It's a boundary purposely made within the vessel of Malchut to halt the upper light and ensure it doesn't expand indefinitely into spaces that aren't corrected enough to safely process it.
To really grasp this secret, this sod, let's map these ancient terms to modern systems. For the tech-minded out there, think of this like a cosmic IT system. The Ohr Yashar, the direct light, is your pure incoming source code. Malchut is your receiver endpoint. But to stop a total system overload, you need the Masach, the system firewall. And the Ohr Hozer, the returning light, acts as the authorization return protocol that safely validates the data flow.
That is such a perfect way to visualize it. And if we want a version for the kids or the gamers in our audience, imagine Ohr Yashar is this massive incoming ultimate power beam. Malchut is the hero's character. The Masach is the impenetrable energy shield the hero throws up at the last possible millisecond. And the Ohr Hozer, that's the reflected shield energy glowing off the barrier, which actually allows the hero to harness that immense power safely without getting vaporized.
Section 4. The Screen and the Strike.
We have reached the climactic moment where the descent meets the barrier. And once again, an enormous warning to our listeners, this is spiritual causality. There is no physical collision here. No sparks are flying in outer space.
Right. It is an encounter of pure intent. The unstoppable force of the infinite light meets the immovable object of the Masach's restriction. The text calls this precise interaction zivug de haka'ah. Now, zivug means coupling, and haka'ah means striking. It's a striking union.
When the expanding Ohr Ein Sof hits the Masach and Malchut, the haka'ah, the forceful striking of these two opposing intentions, causes the light to instantly halt its expansion and return upward to its source. The firewall detects the infinite data and immediately bounces the signal back up the chain.
And this brilliantly sets up the contrast between the two main categories of light we're analyzing today. On one hand, you have the Ohr Yashar, the direct incoming spreading of the upper light. It comes straight from Ein Sof, cascading through the degrees, measuring out exactly how much reception is desired by the system.
Exactly. And on the other hand, you have the Ohr Hozer, the returning light. This is the light that bounces back, returning upward via the Masach. Because the Masach actively rejects receiving for its own selfish sake, it literally pushes the light back up.
Section 5. Returning light as true vessel.
Okay, this right here is the ultimate secret of our entire explainer journey. How does a reflection become a container? It seems completely counterintuitive, doesn't it? You would naturally think a vessel is just an empty space waiting to be filled up. But the text reveals something profoundly different about the Ohr Hozer.
It changes everything. By pushing the light back, the Ohr Hozer reverses pure, uncorrected reception. Just like that IT authorization return protocol establishes a valid, secure connection, the returning light actually closed the upper light.
Exactly. Because Malchut refused to receive for itself, the light that reflects back upward forms a protective, structural layer. It becomes a corrected vessel, a true Kli. This returning light is the only thing that safely holds the upper light for the created being. To use our earlier analogy, the shield energy literally becomes the containment suit. That is the only valid reception.
Section 6. Atzilut and the separation.
So what is the grand cosmic consequence of this incredible mechanism? It literally shapes the architecture of all the worlds. This interaction at the Masach doesn't just happen in a vacuum. It creates the fundamental dividing line of reality. Let's read the explicit text from Talmud Eser Sefirot, Part 3. It says, "When the 10th vessel of Atzilut was completed, a screen and curtain was made there, separating between Atzilut and the rest of the worlds below it." This is huge. If this separating screen did not exist, the lower worlds, like Briah, which is the world of creation, would be utterly flooded with infinite light, and they would shatter instantly. They absolutely cannot receive unlimited light without this cosmic firewall actively protecting them. While things like the Reshimat, the subtle impressions left behind when light departs, aren't the explicit focus of this exact passage, this separating barrier is the absolute prerequisite for any world below Atzilut to even exist. And this dynamic completely defines the world of Atzilut. Absolute is the realm of emanation extending up to the exact point where the infinite light reaches and successfully close the vessels via that returning light right before hitting that final impenetrable screen. It is the highest operating system. It's running pure source code, safely and perfectly contained by the ultimate protocol of Ohr Hozer.
So, if you take nothing else away today, the crucial point, the absolute master key to this entire textual journey is this: the returning light is the true vessel. True reception isn't about pulling power in. It is about projecting the shield energy, the strict intention to bestow, back toward the source. That active reflection is what safely holds the infinite.
It really flips everything we assume about receiving completely upside down. If you just try to take for yourself, you hit the firewall. But if you reflect and focus on bestowing, you build the vessel.
Which leaves us with a provocative question for you to ponder as we close out. How will you use your own screen to reflect light and create a true vessel in your world today? Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.